So Republican leaders saying the White House, President Obama, is not serious about dealing with the deficit. That was the talk on Sunday. McConnell
I've
first.
now had a number of private conversations with the president and the vice president. I was hopeful that we would step up to the plate here, if you will, and use this divided government opportunity to do something big about our long-term problems. What I don't see now is any willingness to do anything that's difficult.
So that's Mitch McConnell saying the president is in denial about Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, which are driving up the national debt more than $14 trillion. Let's talk about it with Bob Beckel. He worked in the Carter White House. Andrea Tantaros, a conservative columnist, and both are Fox News contributors. How you guys doing? And good morning to both.
Good morning, Bill.
Andrea, do you think the White House is serious, or is McConnell onto something?
I think McConnell's onto something.
I'm sorry.
You know, I don't think the president has shown leadership at all on this issue as far as entitlements go. You know, he said in December that you can't do anything serious about the budget unless you tackle the issues, and then he goes and doesn't do it. And I think he ignored the recommendations largely of his own deficit commission. So McConnell's up to something. I think that Boehner, though, Bill, has a real tough issue on his hands for two reasons. He's got two family feuds. One are the GOP senators are not feeling the pressure from the conservative base to cut like those in the House are. And he also has those 87 freshmen that I think are demanding cuts, and they are showing they are not going to fold.
So far, you're right on that. John Boehner said on Friday, though, Bob, that he'd walk the plank on all these issues. And he invited the president to walk the plank with him.
Yeah, well, they're both going to have to walk the plank when it gets to entitlements. Look, nobody can cut entitlements by one party. I mean, it's impossible politically going into 2012. They're going to have to jump together. But we're talking apples and oranges here. What we're talking about now is a vote before the 18th of March, which will deal with the $61 billion in cuts the House has come up with. Now, over the weekend, and I was surprised how they both put the lines in the sand the way they did. And I don't believe the Democrats are going to go any more than $20 billion, and the House, because of the Tea Party people, are not going to come much down from $60 billion, which means that's a formula for shutting down government a week from Friday.
Wow, you think that's where we're headed, Andrea?
I think that's where we're headed.
You think, Andrea, that's going to happen? No, why not?
No, I don't. I think that they're going to come together and they're going to come to an agreement. And look, I think Republicans, if they cave anywhere, sadly, is going to be on defense spending. But I do not think that they are going to shut down the government. Now, let's say it happens. Remember, Bill, Republicans shut down the government in '94. They went on to keep the House, and they subsequently kept it for years after. So I don't think that they think this is a big a deal if it happens. I think they know that the American people are on their side. But look,
but you just made the point, too, that you think Republicans will cave. But what we're seeing from these 87 House freshmen, they have not moved.
I think that they will cave a little bit to prevent a shutdown. I don't think a shutdown is going to happen.
Okay, Bob, before you answer that, let me get to John Kerry pointing the finger at Republicans, too, from Sunday. Go.
I don't believe what we have from the House is a serious economic plan. I think it's a ideological, extremist, reckless statement. If that were to be, in fact, put in place, it would contribute to the reversal of our recovery. It sets back GDP. We will lose 700,000, 200,000, 500,000 jobs, whatever we lose, 200 to 700. It moves against the recovery that we've worked so hard to achieve.
And listen to that point, because that's what you're going to hear from Democrats. You know, to both of you, and Bob, you can strike. They're saying that these cuts will kill our recovery, as slight as it might be, and it's going to cost us jobs. I'm
not so sure it's a slight, by the way, but it is right. I mean, what they've done here is there was no policy consideration behind this. The House did these cuts. Let's remember, the House leadership had $35 billion in cuts. They had to go back to the drawing board because all these 89 freshmen, most of whom have never had to deal in the real life of government or politics, have forced it to 61. They're not going to back down.
But they're
and the
the ones who
Democrats are not about to let them get away with this.
They're the ones who are saying the reason why they even won the election.
Well, if that's the case, then why didn't they take on entitlements?
Now it's time to do it. Go. What?
Why didn't they take on entitlements or take on defense?
That will be page 2, according to Boehner on Friday in the Wall Street Journal.
They
Right?
will come out and do that. But you're going to be prepared to hear Democrats start to scare Republicans and the American people. They're going to come out and say, if we cut all these programs like Debbie Wasserman Schultz did, all these young people are going to turn into criminals. Look, part of the reason we're in this situation, Bill, is because Democrats didn't have the guts to pass a budget last year. They wanted to appease a lot of members of their base, and they didn't want vulnerable members to have to take any tough votes before election season.
Excuse me, we had plenty of guts. The Republicans wouldn't go along with it, number one. And number two, when you want to cut out Head Start, police and firemen, then you're in draconian cuts. That way, Kerry is right. These people, these Tea Party people, are out of their minds with these kind of cuts they're talking
Bob,
about.
you're out of your mind. You come on America's Newsroom almost every other Monday screaming about how the deficit doesn't matter.
I don't think it does matter. What I'm saying, the reality is the reality. The reality is the reality. And the reality is they want to cut stuff that is impossible to cut unless you want to take cops and firemen off the streets.
Get ready for this in March and April and beyond. Bob, thank you. Andrea, thanks to you. Interesting. Bob says it's all talk. Andrea says Republicans might cave.
A showdown,
in which
not a
area, we'll
shutdown.
see. Thanks to both of you, okay?